And I can't tell you how many songs I've written and fully produced and finished and just said, I love this song, but this does not need to come out. Nobody needs to hear this. I
Is
just
that
need to make
you
this.
saying that, or is that a record label saying that?
That's me. Luckily, I am my record label now. So,
Oh, that's so
um,
cool. High five.
so it's thank you. And I
Is
think that's honestly the scariest part because I
ah,
love I love input. I think in the past I've looked to input for approval, and I had to readjust that understanding of the people whose opinion I really do value around me, and my capabilities of saying I appreciate that. I I'm gonna trust my gut on this because I believe in this. Because the times in the past that I have trusted my like I love telling this story because I love other creatives being encouraged by this. But I remember there was a song called "I Went Crazy" that I put out that was one of our biggest hits. And it was a massive pop crossover, and um, I remember turning that song into the label and I couldn't get anybody's reaction. I couldn't get anybody to react to it. We were talking about singles, we were talking about the next project, and I was like, I think this is one of our big songs. And at the time, for context, I didn't believe that I was capable because I'm so close to all of these songs. They're my children. I didn't believe that I was capable of picking a single because I'm inherently biased. I didn't trust my instincts based on my study of what was working at the time, and I also believed that that's what made a hit. But I stuck my neck out for this song, and I called the guy that was producing the song with me, or we were working on other things, and we snuck it in to a budget, to a timeline without anybody knowing, and we finished the song. We played it for the label, and they're like, "Holy crap, that's our next single!" And that's happened a few times. I've called a few songs out, and I only say that because I think those are lessons that I have to remind myself of, to trusting your gut and trusting your instinct. The scariest thing, to answer your question finally, but the scariest thing is when you're used to having a team that says this is going to work, or this is or this is the single, or this is the thing, um, and now you're the one having to trust your gut and trust your instinct. I don't know why I keep removing myself now that I'm in this position. um, I have to really trust my gut and trust my instinct, and so far, um, and also I want to have the right people around me that I can trust as well, to call me up or call me out.
what's your relationship to vulnerability in your music?
I feel like it's pretty good. I pour a lot of it. I pour a lot of myself into what I write and what I put out, and also the stories that I tell about it. Um, I'm I'm renegotiating my relationship with what parts of my story I give away. I think there was a
As
relationship that was
in
very
pulling it back?
well. Not I wouldn't say pulling it back. I would say there are certain things I want to protect for my personal self. I pour my entire life story into these songs. And there's
Yeah.
some things I'm okay with. There's most things I'm okay with the entire world knowing. And there's some things that I don't feel like, um, you know, eh, some things I don't want to share. Some things I don't feel like are appropriate to share. There's certain aspects of a song that I released recently that aren't at all about what people think that it's about, but that's okay because the song means something different for them, and that's what I want. I go through these experiences, I live through them, I find a way to talk about them in a song, and then I give them away. I want other people to take ownership with it. That said, I feel, if anything, I feel like I overshare because I do share a lot of my personal life, and also just my struggles, my different things with whether it be like anxiety, um, different sort of like mild forms of I almost feel guilty saying depression, which I know sounds dumb, but um, I'm happy to share those things. I'm happy to share my human experience with the world because I think that's part of what makes my art. That is what makes
You
my art.
or have you realized or been identified in any way to be like a really like a deep empath? Do you realize that you absorb people's energy?
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's
I've
hard.
learned I've learned that recently. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that drove me to songwriting was I have to have
Yeah.
a place. I have to have a place to put this, and I have
Yeah.
to make these things. Yeah, I just have to put them somewhere. There has to be an outlet.
Yeah. How has knowing that shifted, like, even the people? Does it change the people you spend time with or what you do? Just because I know that, like, from friends that have this ability, like, have anxiety, which is taking on emotions, and, that's one of the ways that it happens. It also can come from ruminating on things for too long and kind of letting yourself spiral. But just, large groups or certain people, certain dynamics, have you seen, with moving, obviously that feels good to you. I'm curious what, if that's part of the learning about yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Learning to read myself, learning to read my own body and listen to myself, um, and to pay attention to when I'm in a situation that I feel anxious or um, nervous energy, bad energy about, or just not great energy, and learning how to sort of take breaks and give myself what I need and feed myself, because it's really easy to continue to feed this. I like I said, I love what I do, so it's easy for me to excuse giving and giving and giving and giving, um, until I've got nothing left to give. You know, uh, and especially not to keep going back to the past year, but we've all experienced versions of this. My version is, I didn't have touring, I didn't have that thing to continue to fill my tank, and I kept emptying my tank to make music and to do interviews and do other things, and um, realized how low and depleted I was. But yes, it has changed how I spend time with people and how I prioritize uh, my own time versus my time that I give to the people around me.
Hmm. Do you find that when you are more in that space of feeling more, that you write more?
Sometimes, I've had to get better at journaling. I think for a long time I excused writing as journaling, and it is, and it can be, and it has been, but it's not always. You are editing. You are making something fit into 4 lines, 8 lines, 3 lines, a pre-chorus, a chorus. Um, you're simplifying a lot of things to make it into a song that works for a lot of people. So it's not really proper journaling. You leave a lot out. Um, so I've had to get better at properly journaling and really um, finding a place where all of it can be put on paper.
Have I mean, have you had some pretty cathartic sort of breakthroughs in this deeper level of journaling? Because, I ask about vulnerability in your music, and yeah, it's there, but clearly there was still more to be had if you allowed yourself to go there. Speaking from experience, so it's not like like I've literally had breakdowns, breakthroughs, call them what you want, but it's like they're very emotional.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also learning how to journal too, because when you're a song, like I trained myself for so long to be a better songwriter.
Mm.
Um, you have to undo so many of those things to be a better journalist,
Oh
to
yeah.
be a better journal, whatever, to do better at journaling, and
Yeah. That
and
makes sense because
also,
you're putting a pen to paper to write a song, you're putting a pen to paper to journal, so they feel, sort of reflexively very similar, but the space that you're entering is very different.
yeah, I have to go to a location to journal.
Yeah, tell us, I mean, share your tips because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that this could be very helpful for.
Well, I had to find new places that aren't associated with um, with music.
Mm.
I've also been able to really reassociate certain places with journaling. Like I've chosen to go to places that maybe I'm scared to go to because they hold a certain memory. I love going there and journaling and sort of re-evaluating my relation, because I feel better, and I get to actually process what those feelings are. I get to put them in a journal, in an entry, and all of a sudden those places become healing places for me. All the places that is always kind of a goal of mine. If there is a place that has a bad um, connection for me, or a connection to a bad emotion, I sort of see it as a challenge. I need to go there. I need to, whether it be journal or just like kind of meditate in a way. Um, I love going there, reevaluating, so that those places become my favorite places and places that I actually
Are
really
you
enjoy
doing this
going.
all on your own? Or do you have a
No,
therapist? I mean, like I had 2 at one point, so, like, no
I
judgment.
I get to work with an incredible therapist who um, actually designs one of my favorite sort of intensives that I've also been to. Um,
Mm,
so I feel like I've got access to like a professor of sorts, and
that's
um,
amazing.
yeah, so I'm really grateful that not only that I did the intensive, which I've wanted to do for several years, but it's just so easy to say, well, I don't have time, or I don't want to give up a week of my time because my team needs me for that. It's such a dumb excuse, but that's the one I used for a long time. And this year was kind of like, well, I don't have any more excuses, and I need to do this.